first thing that I will do, as with the other computers, is to remove the outer case. However, this one is just a little different. Now, the reason why I mention this is that there are actual handles to make removal of the side panels easier, which I didn't realize at first, and thus I also remove way more screws than necessary. I'm not supposed to remove those handles, but anyway, one's broken off so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, I realize it and I remove the left panel, which I thought was the correct side, but I was wrong. After silently screaming in frustration, the other side kind of pops out on its own after turning the computer over. Thus, I now have access to the inside of the unit, and something that I will note is that each metal panel is quite heavy. Now, I begin removing the cabling from the motherboard and various drives in the computer. With all the wires in place, it is very hard to get around, which is a common feature in a lot of the older computer case designs, especially with how the power supply unit is positioned. However, once the excess wiring is removed, the rest of the teardown is pretty easy. There is one card installed in the computer, so I remove the bolt that keeps the card attached to the computer case, and we get a modem card. With that out of the way, I now focus on getting that power supply removed, which takes 4 screws. Now I do position the computer face down, so upon removal of the 4th screw, the power supply falls right out. Thanks, Newton. Now with the power supply unit gone, the computer already looks quite bare. The next step is to get our motherboard. Just remove all of the screws holding it down, and it will be freed. Now, the processor sticker featured on the case made me a bit excited, so I went ahead and removed the clip holding the processor in place, and as the clip came out, I lifted up on the little brown handle so that everything comes out in one piece. The CPU, heatsink, and fan were all attached to each other, so I used a small screwdriver to separate the CPU and heatsink. It was quite a tight fit, but eventually the heatsink came out and our lovely ceramic CPU is now freed. As you can see, the connection was so tight, the actual CPU's writing was embossed into the heatsink's black thermal paste, which I thought was pretty crazy. Now, I focus my attention to the front panel. I attempted to pry it off, but it really wasn't coming out, so I decided to begin the removal of all those drives and didn't bother removing the front faceplate. I then begin on working to remove the screws holding our drives in place. However, it is a little difficult to get them all removed. After removing all the screws on both sides of the computer, the drives begin to come out one after the other. Out comes the floppy drive. Followed by the DVD drive. Off camera, I removed all the wiring visible and finished the teardown. So yeah, quite the interesting computer to work on. Let's see what we got. We got a lot of heavy sheet metal and a nice pile of screws. Lots of little wires that are holding everything together, including a little adapter there. Some ribbon cables, of course, as well as a power supply, a floppy drive, a DVD drive, a beautiful high-grade green motherboard, a modem card, one singular fan on top of our heatsink, which just happened to cool our beautiful AMD K6 CPU. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the teardown, and here are the results. And I really do hope that you stay tuned for the next video, as I think it'll be pretty interesting. Here's a little preview of it, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.